Hello, this is Arturelia Gaming Room Reviews. I'm Arturo, and today I'll be reviewing... Yes, the sequel to the first Fatal Frame game, though technically it's a standalone in the series. Well, at the time it was. Yes, the second Fatal Frame came out within, technically 2 years after the first one. Though the first one had a re-release for the Xbox the year after it came out. Then this was the next installment to hit shelves back in 2003. And does it exceed what the first one had established? Does it improve on some gameplay mechanics? Is it even more scarier than the first one that at least gave me chills? Well, there's a bit of a weird experience when I played this game and the first one, but we'll get to that as we dive into the review of Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly. And yes, again, for the second time, I have to bring out my handy dandy camera obscure. Let's go. Two twin girls come upon a village that is hidden. They go into the village only to encounter ghosts and strange things that happen there. Now, the two twins, Mio and Mayu, will have to make their way out of this haunted place, but will be stuck in the village. It will be up to Mio to use a camera which can defeat the ghosts. But their connections with the village will also be revealed, and why they were the only ones to find this place. Overall, the soundtrack in this game is very good. It does have that horror feel, and the themes can be pretty creepy, especially in certain places, or the atmosphere of the village outside, or even inside certain houses. The twin characters have something in common with the village, like I mentioned. The weirder character is Mio's sister, Mayu. But I don't want to go into much detail with her, because if I do, then it will technically spoil the story. I'll just say the plot follows them going through this village, only to find out the fate of this village, and their somewhat connections with it due to a past. And yes, just like the first one, there is a ceremony. And as you travel through the village, you're going to find some notebooks, some paper that were left from the village, and get more information on what happened in the village. Overall, the story is good, basically about two twin sisters trying to survive. Now, the gameplay is, yes, really good. It gives you the feeling of trying to escape or survive from the ghosts. The camera is your hope and your weapon to survive. Sometimes your sister will get attacked, so you have to keep an eye out for the ghosts that may come behind you, because yes, they do what they did in the first game. They could vanish and then reappear through the walls, or vanish again and then reappear from behind you. Same deal. At points, your sister will wander off and you have to end up looking for her, which gets visions of where she went. It's almost like, where is she going now? So yeah, like the first game, you had to look for your brother. This time, you do have your sister beside you, but then there are points where you have to also look for her as well, so ha! Now hold it, Arturo. Why aren't we talking about Wild West games? I mean, come on, if we're talking about a game on the PS2, we need to talk about Red Dead Revolver or Western games. We're not talking about Western games, Clone number 3, please. The gameplay mechanics have been improved from the first game, and I mean a whole lot. On top of that, you have another character with you during the game at points. If she doesn't wander off, most of the time you're doing most of the work, but your sister can help out with certain switches to get into rooms. The control is actually, well, let's just say when you move her with the analog stick, it's more smooth, less of a jerk like the first game. Yeah, the controls are fine. And positioning the camera is also good. Like the first game, upgrading your camera obscure can help out a lot. You can freeze ghosts, along with slowing them down, though I don't really get what certain abilities really work well. All I know is this thing can slow the ghosts. The other just makes them lag. You have different options to choose from. I also recently found out these new abilities to use against the ghosts. The orbs you get will upgrade the camera, but you need points to level them up, which this levels up the abilities you add to the camera. They will give you different results. Heck, even one, the Zero ability, literally can kill the ghost so quick. And adding other abilities like when a ghost grabs you, you can use a power to push them away. The inventory you can gather in the game is orbs or holy water that can heal you. Same deal as in the first game. You do get a radio, which if you find crystals, you can put them in and listen to the spirit's voice. Creepy. You get some intel on what happened to them before they, well, yeah, before they died. And depending on the film you get for your camera, some are stronger than others. Just like the first game. Most of the time in this game, you have to wander around and figure out where you need to go, because there were times it took me forever to figure out where I had to go. It was almost like Silent Hill, where you kind of have to figure the stuff out yourself. In most cases. I mean, maybe not as much as Silent Hill, but there were points where I didn't know where or what house to go to or what was the next objective. It's that game where you'll have to be backtracking as well. You also have to do the same thing again like the first game. Go to locations to break the curse so you keep progressing. Can you tell me why you look like an anime character and why you didn't record yourself in the basement this time? Well, there's a reason why I look like an anime character right now, because my basement's like a trash pile. Oh, come on. You could have filmed yourself down there. You could have just moved all the stuff. I mean, what's the problem down there? Well, as you know, there was work done down there. Forget it. Now, that weird thing between me and Fatal Frame 2 that I mentioned at the very beginning of this episode, yeah, let's just say the first Fatal Frame game that I actually played, which was a trial version, was the 5th game on the Wii U, though I never, I had the trial version, so I didn't really technically play the whole game. But then I got the second game first, played that for a bit, or I'm a starter stopper because I have a lot of games I'm playing at the same time, so this game took me a while to actually beat. I would play it, then wait a while to play it again, then came back and played it, wait a while again, came back and played it, and then I decided to get the first one and play that all the way. So I played the second one first, halfway, and then I jumped right to the first one, played all of that before I jumped back to the second one, then I jumped into the second one again and beat it. So yeah, like I said, this was a weird one with me. I jumped around, and I could obviously tell the improvements between the second game and the first game. The second game had a better style, better feel to the camera, while the first one ain't bad by no means. It was the start. I feel like the second one does improve on the gameplay mechanics. Sad part is the ghosts aren't as creepy as the first one. The first one like gave me more chills because they look more deformed than in the second game. As for replay value, after you beat the game on easy or normal, you can get hard mode. If you played it in, well, yeah, on the first two modes, you're going to get the normal ending, which is the, yes, official canon. If you played it on hard mode, I believe you get a different ending. I'm not entirely sure, because I never went back to play it a second time to just see. Because, well, I mean, I got the canon ending. I mean, what else is there? You get the point that I'm trying to say. I know on the Xbox version there's extra stuff, including an extra ending, or two or so, I don't know. However, these endings, like I've said, are not canon. On top of that, you can change the characters' costumes and play mission mode, which would be the same as the first game. But there are some things you gotta complete in a certain way, like defeating a ghost within 45 seconds, or getting this amount of points. I haven't tried all of them, but yes, you do have some replay value here along with a hard mode that is unlocked. But on the bright side, you get most of your upgrades, including these new power-ups. On top of that, the alternate endings that aren't canon. But like I said, the Xbox version has extra stuff. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. I will say it does exceed the first game in a lot of ways. However, I never found it to be that scary. I will say the first one gave me chills because of the designs of the ghosts. This, they kind of toned it back a bit. Don't get me wrong though, it is a great game. I just think the first one had more of a creepy vibe. But this is also creepy too because it's almost like a Silent Hill sort of deal, an abandoned village, and the atmosphere is pretty creepy. The soundtrack's also good. Most of the gameplay mechanics really improve from the first one. So definitely this one is better. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I feel like it's an underrated series. And this is actually a lot of people's favorite in the series itself. I mean, in the end, they actually ended up making a remake of this. Which, here's what I'll say about the recommendation. The remake. There was a Wii version and a Wii U version, which actually has British people doing the voices for the characters. Sadly, though, it never came over here in America, and obviously the Wii version never came out outside of Japan, unless you got, you know, something to translate it. Or on top of that, buying the Wii U version, which I need to figure out how to do that. I would like to try that version. But yeah, obviously I would also recommend the third Fatal Frame, the fourth Fatal Frame, the fifth Fatal Frame. Though if you want more of this creepy atmosphere of an abandoned place like in this one, obviously there's Silent Hill. Well, this is Arturelia Gaming Room Reviews, signing off.